You're listening to the Bust-Proof Business Podcast, taking your business to the next level by taking you out of it. With our experience and proven results, we'll help you find the success that many crave, but only we can help you achieve. It's time to get started with your host, Greg Murphy.
Hey guys, it's Greg Murphy, and you're listening to the Bust-Proof Business Podcast. Today, I talk with a good friend of mine, Chris Green. He is from ScanPower.com, and he has a ton of irons in the fire. Chris is, he's worse than I am in terms of focus, which is hard to do. But again, we've had a lot of discussions, him and I, about how we should focus on our business, dance with the girl that brought you and just really knuckle down and focus on building something. But he's really an idea guy. It's more fun for him to have a new idea than it is to execute on the 50 other ones that he's had. And he wrote Retail Arbitrage and Online Arbitrage, which were big hits in the community, in the Amazon seller community. And it got a lot of new people in, which some people complained about because they thought that, they're the only ones that should have this type of information. It shouldn't be for new people. He's done a lot to really develop the marketplace and a lot to make a lot of people a ton of money. I know friends of mine that are selling $3, $5, $7, $10 million a year on Amazon because of Chris Green's books. So it's definitely a lot of hard work, but it's something. But Fulfillment by Amazon is something that is amazing. And if you don't know what that is, basically, in my shop, in my warehouse, we have around 150,000 books or so that we are selling from our shelves. And when we get an order from a customer, we go pull the order, pick, pack, and ship it to the customer. We also have around 100,000 or more books in Amazon's fulfillment program. So we send pallets of books out there. When the order comes, Amazon ships them to the end customer. There's a lot of people that don't want to have a 60,000 square foot warehouse. So a lot of people are working out of their homes or out of small little 1,000-foot spaces. And they do well because they send everything into Amazon's fulfillment network. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. It really allows everybody to scale. So there's really no difference between someone with a massive warehouse and someone that's working out of their garage on Amazon's fulfillment network. That's something that's amazing and that he's taught people how to exploit. I talked with him about his new passion project, which is merch by Amazon. I think it's something that for some people it can be a source of a lot of revenue. You don't have to have anything. You can work out of your home and design t-shirts and have them be sold on Amazon. I'm not a super creative guy, so I'm not sure that would work so much for me, but I know a lot of folks are. And I know a lot of people are taking, getting 4 or 5 figure checks every month or so from Amazon. So it can be a big source of revenue if that's something that you want to do. Let's get into the interview. And again, when you're listening to this, realize that this is a special guy. He's really a guy after my own heart, but he also understands himself in a way that most people don't. And that's something I respect about him. I've told him many, many times, buddy, you can make a lot more money if you just focus on one thing at a time. And he definitely doesn't. And he realized, look, that's just not me. That's just not who I am. So he likes the idea more than building a company around it. And so it makes him more happy than anything to have an idea and see someone else take it and run with it. So let's just get right into the interview. Okay, so I'm here today with my good friend Chris Green from ScanPower. He's big into merch on Amazon. They come out with a new application, Boxed, for us sellers for Amazon. But more importantly, back in the day, Chris wrote Retail Arbitrage, which was and still is the Bible for Amazon sellers. That it got a lot of people into having their own business and being able to work for themselves. He's really the guy that did all the Facebook groups. He's really the guy that transformed Amazon into something that is a community for third-party sellers. So, Chris, thanks for being on the show with me today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. I mean, it's a little bit of a big responsibility when you explain it that way. And it really wasn't my intention along the way to become this godfather of FBA, but I definitely see how it played out that way. And I'm just happy that I can help a lot of people get started, making extra money, making full-time money, creating little empires for themselves. And, and Amazon has grown since then from selling products into merch by Amazon and products from vendors like ScanPower and the new product we have boxed. There are so many ways to make money on the internet these days. It's an exciting time to be alive. I mean, nobody would want to go back in time and start a business, right? Which means right now is the best.
Well, unless maybe you wanted to start a newspaper. But otherwise,
well, maybe not a specific business, right? Like the horse and carriage,
right.
Yeah.
No,
but to start a business today, it's amazing.
It really is, and I'm excited that my problem, and I know yours is too, even worse than me, is it's not about starting a business. It's not starting too many businesses and not getting too into the weeds and getting a bright, shiny new idea and get distracted from the girl that brought you to the dance.
Yeah, that is probably my biggest fatal flaw, is that I see something new and then I want to spend some time on it. And that time that I spend there is time not spent on something else, right? So, people label me an entrepreneur or a businessman, and I'm really not. I definitely see opportunities and can find a way to monetize them. And I enjoy doing that to a point, and I enjoy teaching people about it. But I definitely need a team and business partners who can do what they're good at so that we build something, big and sustainable and reach a bunch of people. That way I get to continue doing what I'm good at. Other people get to continue doing what they're good at. And that's what I think people need to do is identify and be self-aware of who they are, what they want to do, where they want to go, and figure out how they're going to get there, whether they do it by trial and error or they do it by, listening to podcasts like this and, taking all the information. But then at some point, it's all execution, because you can listen to podcasts all day, right? If you don't execute on some of the ideas that you hear about, then you're going to be in the same place at the end of the day as at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's true. I've said this before about conferences. Another thing that it can be poisonous to be exposed to too many ideas if you're not able to execute. It can paralyze you.
Okay, I'm at the point where there's some sites like AppSumo and Creative Market, two sites which I love. I love the stuff that I get from them. They negotiate deep discounts on very relative products for what I'm doing as an internet marketer, as a designer. But I intentionally don't look at the offers, because I know if I look, I'm going to buy it. And I just don't have time to use all the things that I buy, So even though I want it, I have to it's like self-control. It's like, don't look at that, because you're just going to buy it and not, because I've got so many things that I've already bought, or ideas that I need to develop. I have enough stuff to focus on. So I have to, be conscious and not add in anything else. Because if there was unlimited time in a day, then sure, let's all do everything that we all want to do. But you don't. So we do have to pick. And it's the curse of this generation of living in 2016 moving forward, of having so many options, because you can't do them all. You have to be okay. You have to, convince yourself and remind yourself all the time that, yeah, that idea is great, but you're never going to do it, because you just can't. That's why I give my ideas away. I'd rather someone else do it than nobody. I know that I won't be able to ever go down that road. So I'd rather someone else, if that's what they want to do and that's what they're good at. And I see people say, why would you give this idea away? Why don't you do it yourself? It's like, I don't have time. I can't. And it sucks. It does almost eat away at you a little bit that you won't be able to pursue a business idea. But you have to. Otherwise, you won't do any of them. At least you won't do any of them well.
Right. And I'm, with the Dollar Book Swap and Murph Books and Bust Proof, I think that I would do, if I focused on just one of them, I think I'd knock it out of the park. But I feel sometimes frustrated and stymied by the fact that, if I'm spending time on one, it's sort of like spinning plates, right? Like you only have so much time during the day. So to move this business ahead, it takes focus away from these other businesses. And so I'm building a team, obviously with Murph Books, to make that less of an issue. And we're trying to do the same thing now with the Dollar Book Swap. Okay, so I want to go back and talk about Paul, your partner, Paul. So he's the one that allows you, that because he runs the development at ScanPower, he's the one that pays the bills and allows you to have the time to work on all these other projects. Is that right?
Exactly.
And so
we met back in the day.
Yeah, you guys came to the shop. You guys came to our shop back when we were at the smaller warehouse, and we all had lunch. we talked about development, and you guys explained the way ScanPower works. So I guess first off, why don't you tell us what ScanPower is to people that might not know?
Well, ScanPower was formerly FBA Power, and it was the first third-party program for Amazon sellers that focused on FBA. Because when FBA came out, all of the other programs for listing and repricing and all that, they weren't made for FBA, and FBA is just different, right? You price different. There's so many differences when doing FBA compared to merchant fulfilled, and none of the software was made for that. So you couldn't print individual labels, you couldn't auto price including shipping, all that stuff. So those are the two main features that I needed. So I posted a job on the internet, and Paul responded to it and said, yeah, I think I can do that. And he gave a price quote, and it wasn't a lot, but it wasn't it was enough that all right, we need to think about this. And so I talked to Jen. I was like, this is going to be big. I think we should do this. We went ahead with it, and he made it just for me. So the FBA Power software was really just for me at the beginning. And then I talked to Paul and said, look, we need to team up, let other people use this. This would be a great subscription model. And he was in. So we went 50-50 and brought the product to market, and we changed the name to ScanPower, and we developed into listing and mobile, and we had a repricer for a time. We do bulk evaluation. We do custom work. We do all kinds of stuff really for the FBA sellers. And it's still me and him as 50-50 partners. We've got other employees now that do different things. But Paul definitely, quote unquote, runs ScanPower, right?
There's no quote unquote. There's no quote unquote about it. Don't talk like that.
No, but he does the running of the business, right? Like the financials and the managing projects and timelines and all that stuff, where I'm more of the face and the sales and the marketing. And, I don't like the word idea guy. I just don't think that conveys the right thing. But it's, as a seller myself, to say this is what we need. I mean, that's really how we differentiate at the beginning, because back then, it was designed by me, a seller. So we knew what sellers needed instead of programmers making what they think sellers want. And then the stuff doesn't work right, or they're like, well, why would you want to add $3.99 to your book sales? Well, because it's FBA. And then you're almost like, how do you not know this?
Yeah,
programmer guy. That's how it started.
And I do get frustrated in general with third-party software, because it's normally made for people that aren't that a few seconds here or there doesn't matter too much to them. You know what I mean? Because they're rather small scale. And so the problems that we have are it took an extra second and a half to do that because we're doing it 10,000 times a day. And so it's difficult to use third-party software for some core parts of a business that's growing as large as ours is.
Right.
So we've created some stuff, some proprietary stuff. And we've also, you remember, we've talked about trying to do something together before, but Paul, but this is all a sidetrack. The main point is that having a partner like Paul is what allows you to do what you're good at. How big would ScanPower be if instead you just hired Paul to develop it and build it and decided to run it all by yourself?
Oh my goodness. It'd probably be out of business, right? Because I know myself. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at, right? So if I had to do all the daily tasks of running a business, then, it just wouldn't have happened. At some point it'd been like, you know what, forget it,
and I respect
but people
that.
have to.
I respect that, because what happens is that, you could have 100% of a company that went out of business, or you can realize who you are and have half of something that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see a lot of people try to keep control, and for what, right? So that you have 100% of something small, which if that's what someone wants, great. That's back where we're talking about. You need to be self-aware of who you are and what you want to do. But I see another problem that I see a lot of is people project. So they think everybody's like them, and if they don't want to do something, why would someone else want to do it? There are lots of people who are very happy being a number 2 or number 3 in a company. You don't have to be the number 1, right? Number 1 has a lot of responsibilities that people don't necessarily want to do, but they might see it as this cool, sexy position of I got to have my own company. No, you don't. Maybe you want to be number 2 in a company, have a lot less responsibility, able to focus on the stuff that you're actually good at, and not have to do the stuff that you either don't like or you're not good at either. right? So don't think that, oh, who would ever want to manage some projects, some software projects? There's a lot of people who love managing software projects, and they take great pride in it. So find those people and work with them. The number one trait or characteristic you need to look for in hiring people is trust.
Right.
If you can trust somebody, then you can train them, then you can work together, you can collaborate, you can do all this stuff as long as you trust them. I mean, everybody's trainable, right? So you don't have to find someone trustworthy and is a genius computer science major and this and that, and they're single and no kids, so they're going to work 14 hours a day for you. Like, if you wait for that one person, you're going to wait a long time. Right, but you can find someone you can trust. Trust is the absolute number one. And once you lose trust, I say it's almost impossible to get it back.
And I've
so
said,
find trustworthy people.
That's 100% right. And I've said that's why we hire a lot of our family most of the time, because I can train people to be competent. I can do that, but I can't train people that I don't think are going to rob me. Right? You can't train somebody to be trustworthy. So I agree with you 100%. 100%. That might not be the best way to run a business, but like I always say, I can just tell you guys what I do. But I definitely would prefer someone that I can trust, that we can teach or learn it together, than someone that has all these degrees and all this experience that I just don't feel too good about.
Right. I think the media, I hate to bring the media into this, but I think there's a lot of, like, between TV shows and movies and all this stuff and negative advertising, where a lot of people think everybody's just looking to take advantage of somebody the first chance they get. And that's unfortunate. That's sad. That's no way to live your life. And I would recommend that people, put themselves out there first, like show people that you're trustworthy, give people the opportunity to burn you, right? And the ones who don't burn you, be like, all right, cool. Like, now I can tell that you're trustworthy because you could totally have taken advantage of me there. Like, when it comes to ScanPower, Paul holds all the keys, right? Like, in theory, from like the programming side, he could lock me out of everything, right? But of course he's not going to, because I trust him, right? But like, I don't hold all the programming keys. I don't know how to log into servers and update all this stuff. So if you had to break it down, like on paper, who controls ScanPower? He controls it 100%. But we're still 50-50 partners, right? But I trust him and he trusts me. So we have that relationship. Now, here's some advice that I've been given a lot lately. And it comes down like putting yourself out there and seeing what happens, right? Because, well, I can't guarantee that anything will happen by someone putting themselves out there, by offering to work with people, by doing all this stuff to try to find the people to work with and find trustworthy people. I can't guarantee anything's going to happen. I can't guarantee you're even going to meet somebody or network with somebody that is going to work for you long term. But I can guarantee you, if you don't put yourself out there, then you absolutely will not meet any of these people. You will absolutely not find someone you can trust and grow your business. And then you're going to have that brick wall or glass ceiling or whatever that phrase is, where your business can only get so big because you are doing everything. And if that's what you want, great, right? Be self-aware that that's what you want. That's the position you put yourself in. But if you want to grow and scale and have 70% of something big instead of 100% of something small, then you got to find that 30% partner or that 50% partner or whatever it is. You got to some of that have skin in the game to where they're excited to work. Otherwise, they're going to give you minimum effort for the $20 an hour you're giving them.
And I agree with you 100%. I do think that there's people, I've talked many times about the difference between building a business or creating a job for yourself, which is kind of... There's
a lot of mistakes out there about that, yeah.
And that's kind of how Busproof got started, is I think from a conversation either you or I had, or me and Andy had, about how a business is one that, a real business is one that if you get hit by a bus or if something happens and you can't work day to day, that it'll run without you. And I mean, outside of sales for ScanPower, I mean, if you didn't go to work or you didn't check in for a while, they're going to keep developing. They're going to continue customer updates. They're going to support. Still going to answer the phone. I mean, it's not going to have a big impact on day to day, right?
Yeah, I like to phrase it as, can you sell? Is it something you could sell? Right? Can you sell your business? Now, if you're a solo retail arbitrage Amazon seller, what are you going to sell? The fact that you drive around with a truck on the weekends? Like, there's nothing there to sell.
Right.
But if you have a business with sources and replenishable orders and a customer base and consistent sales every month. Like, now you have something you can sell, right? And so that's how I phrase it. And I just think people need to be aware. I think a lot of people think, hey, I'm not working for the man. I'm not collecting a paycheck. I'm doing it all my own. I started my own business. And while that statement is mostly true, it's not something you can sell. You've started your own job, right? It's better than working for the man. You're working for yourself. This is great, but it's not the bus-proof business. I mean, the name that you came up with is genius, the bus-proof business, because that's what it is. If you're not here, does it still work? Does it still go on? And if that's what people want, then they need to take the steps to get.
I agree with you. Obviously, I agree with you. But the bigger point, I think, is about networking. That's a bigger deal for our business. There was never an opportunity for just booksellers to get together at a conference before. We just did one, Busproof Live in Dayton, Ohio, a couple weeks ago, and there never was one before. At all the conferences, there would be 3 or 4 book guys that'd be like the step kids that the kids that would sit in the corner. But now we got to all get together, and I'll tell you what, Chris, from what I learned from people that paid me to come to my shop, it's enough that it's going to earn us more than 6 figures next year, just because other people were good at things that I wasn't so good at.
Yeah, so you put people in a situation to open up and build trust with somebody, and then someone in every single conversation that started at Busproof Live, someone gave first, right? Someone gave information. Someone bought the beer. Someone put themselves out there and said, look, I'll buy the beers. I'll buy dinner. I'll buy lunch. Here's a tip that I've done that's made me a lot of money, and started that relationship. And when you see people open up, you're like, okay, I can trust this guy. This guy just gave me a great tip that I'm going to take back. And then you have that law of reciprocity that comes into play. Oh, this guy told me something I'm going to make money with. I feel like I need to tell him something. And then they tell something back. And it's not just like this robotic transactional type of conversation. It's just natural and organic relationships. And then things happen. Right now, you can't tell someone, come to Busproof Live, and I guarantee you're going to meet someone who's going to boost your business by 6 figures. You can't guarantee that. It's very likely, actually. But the only guarantee you can give is if you don't come to Busproof Live, then you absolutely will not learn anything that will add 6 figures to your bottom line. So that's why people got to go to these things and network and put themselves out there and build a team. And, it's so obvious, but I do understand the fear and the distrust that a lot of people have, and it's unfortunate. I hope we can help people get over it.
Definitely. And there's nothing special about Dayton. There's definitely nothing special about Dayton, Ohio, to make that happen.
You guys have an airport.
We do have an airport. So I think you're sassing right now, but we do have an airport, and we have very good pizza at Marion's. By the way, speaking of Marion's Pizza, by the way, we were sassed by some people that came in. They didn't like it. They came in from New York and gave us all kinds of trouble about Marion's Pizza, which I bought specifically for them and had it brought into the convention center, and they didn't enjoy the pizza.
Wow. I mean, New Yorkers are a tough crowd.
They are a tough crowd. So I'm telling you, so you like the square pizza, right?
I like pizza. I like pretty much every pizza.
But did I take you to Marion's when you were here? I
don't think we did. Where did we go?
That's right. We went to Max Norman's. That's because I didn't like you very much. So I didn't
yeah,
take you
you're
to
like
the good
still
pizza.
like, I was that guru vendor. You're like, what's the ScanPower guy?
Right. I didn't take you to my good pizza place. Well,
you didn't know how much book history I had. You thought I was some rookie on books.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know that you were buying them from the bulk bins from the clothes guys.
I've done it all, man. I've processed books, and I went to a book sale last week, and I bought a box of books. I was there, it was half hour in, and I'm scanning some books. My kids were there, so they were looking at the kids' books, and I knew I wouldn't have much time because they usually don't let me stay very long. And I'm still picking up books that sell for $48 and $63.
Wait a second.
Half hour into the book sale.
You went to a legit library book sale.
A legit Friends of the Library book sale out here in Rehoboth, Massachusetts.
To buy
out
books.
In the boonies. Well, I went with a few things in mind. One, I was taking the kids.
Right.
They can both read, and I encourage them to read. It gets a book sale. I'm like, you guys can buy as many books as you want. Like, seriously, anything you want, I will buy for you at the book sale because they're so cheap, right? So they got all the Wimpy Kids and some Star Wars and some Lego books, which was great. And I wanted to talk to them about doing a Merch by Amazon fundraiser. Right now, of course, while I'm there, I'm going to scan the books. And the same thoughts go through my mind. Like, there were a few people there that were kind of rushing through that I thought probably were book dealers. But you can find good stuff if you just stop. And these weren't even like look up the titles and ISBNs. These were scan the barcodes on the middle of the table in the religious section, which every bookseller should be going to early on in the sale. And either no one did or these guys were just clowns because I picked up these books. So I still have a box of books here. I have to convince myself to send them in.
That's right. The whole thing is that you're just a collector. You have you just have a bunch of crap that you buy is in your basement or wherever. I've seen the videos. You have all this stuff.
You've seen it.
You got to send it in, man.
Well, check this out. You know, my little boy's 9 now. So, I mean, he's getting old enough where he's like, hey, I want the new Xbox. And I'm like, the Xbox we have right now is fine. If you want to buy one, you can use your own money. And now it's interesting enough to say, look, I'll teach you how to scan books and how to label them and send them in. And you can run the numbers and the costs and the like he's old enough now to really like, oh, I want to make money. And this is a way that I can do that. So I'll teach him to do that. So I anticipate he'll be the one who actually sends these books in, and he can have the money. I spent like $15 on a whole box of like really good books. But I mean, this is a good segue into Merch by Amazon because I really went there 60% to 40% just to talk to them about doing a fundraiser with Merch by Amazon because it's just such an easy way for Friends of a Library or any nonprofit or any fundraiser to raise money for their organization. So it's a no-brainer.
Why don't you first off explain what Merch by Amazon is first, and then secondly, tell us, why would you want to do a fundraiser with the library? How would that tie into to Merch?
All right. So Merch by Amazon is Amazon's newest platform, and it's print-on-demand T-shirts. Now, it's not called t-shirts.amazon.com. It's called Merch. So even though it's only T-shirts right now, you can expect them to add in new things like hoodies and tank tops and stuff like that. But Merch is short for merchandise, and it's print-on-demand. Probably most people listening have heard of Cafe Press, where they print on-demand products. You upload an image, you have a little store. If someone buys it, they will make it and ship it to the customer, and you'll get a royalty or a cut of that product. And Teespring, probably most of you guys have heard of Teespring. They're print-on-demand T-shirts. Now, some of them have like minimums, like you have to sell 25 before they print. They do fundraisers, or not necessarily fundraisers, but they want to sell a whole bunch on a campaign, and you've seen ads on Facebook and all this stuff. So print-on-demand T-shirts, not new.
Right.
Okay? Like this isn't a new idea, but it's new on Amazon. And that's why I get excited about it, because now I'm eligible for Amazon's organic search, which is where all the customers go anyway. First, they're going to Amazon to see if they have it. And these things are all Prime eligible. So it's just hands-off business. All you have to do is upload images, give it a title and a description, and you now have a product on Amazon, a physical product. Now, they're not making it, right? They're making it after the order, but you're able to offer a physical product. And when someone orders it, Amazon's going to do all the work, including fulfillment and processing returns, customer service, anything like that. And they're going to give you a royalty. And on a $20 shirt, you're going to make a $7.68 royalty for doing nothing, right? So a fundraiser should see this and be like, ooh, I like that, because all these other fundraisers that we did were so complicated, unbelievably complicated. Our church did a garage sale. They collected junk in a shed for a year, and then they pulled it all out and like had this garage sale, and I think they made like $80 for as much effort as they put into it. I'm like, guys, you guys need to do Merch by Amazon and just sit there on Twitter and Snapchat and tell people about your link, because then not only am I not buying some used Boggle board game that's missing a piece for $5, I can just go get a shirt that looks great and I'm happy to wear it, and you're going to get $7.
So you got your church,
and I'm actually getting something.
You got your church on Snapchat?
No, but I mean, all the kids are going to use Snapchat. Yeah. I mean, like the youth group should be doing it, right? Like the Boy Scouts should be doing it. The cheerleading squad should be doing it. The Friends of the Library should be doing it. They need to put a shirt up on the wall right by the little checkout stand that says "Proud supporter of Dayton, Ohio, Friends of the Library," with a great looking logo. And he says, if you buy this shirt, you're giving us a $7.50 donation. And people are like, yeah, I'm getting a shirt. That's a lot better than, they would rather do that than put $7.50 in the pot, right? Because you're getting something. Now, and they would never do this themselves if they had to print it themselves. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
printing them and pre-ordering them.
Anyway. Right. Let's talk about the dollar book swap. So how can we apply this there? Because we've wanted to do shirts for a while. I don't super love the t-shirt, the Amazon t-shirts yet. Maybe I just looked at the wrong one. I guess there's two different versions. But let's say we go with the Amazon t-shirts. I've thought about doing a t-shirt for the dollar book swap where we wanted to have it designed ourselves and print them up ahead of time. But let's say we don't do that and we say something like, dollar book swap, whatever, our logo and everything. And if they wear the t-shirt in, they get a free book.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say. You need to give them an incentive to wear it, but have them buy it at the swap, right? So you have, if you just did one color, you could do two colors. They make a great t-shirt outline frame on Amazon. It's $30. So it's very clear. So you put it in this frame. It looks great. Like, oh, okay, I understand what I'm looking at here. And underneath, you say, buy our shirt. Here's the link on Amazon. You can give a little short link or dollarbookswap.com/shirt. Redirect straight to Amazon. And you say, hey, if you wear this, you're going to get a free book. Or if you wear this on sale days, we're going to give you 10% off. And you have all of your staff acknowledge everybody that wears the shirt. So as you ring them up, you say, and because you're wearing the shirt, 10% off, you just saved $8.70, whatever it is. You encourage people to wear it. Then you hope that they wear it around town, right? Like, you're not only going to get the brand recognition, you're going to earn some royalties on top of it.
Well, here's the trick is that I think we want to price them low enough to where we're not making any money on them. That'll sell more. But secondly, 10% off probably wouldn't do it since the books are only $1 a piece. So I don't know that'd make it.
Don't misjudge the value, right?
Yeah.
Some people would like, oh, I'm getting 10% off, and they're excited about that, or 50 cents, or you know your customers, so give them what they want, incentivize them to wear it. But you can mark this is one of the things why Merch by Amazon works so well, is because of this short run capability, right? You probably don't want to go out and buy 100 men's extra large, 100 men's medium, 100 men's small, 100 women's extra small, like have all these things in different boxes. Now you have someone has to, which size shirt do you want? This one. Then you got to go dig through and give the customer. No, they order it themselves. So it's short run and it's low cost. So if you want to do just at cost on the Anvil shirt, which is the cheaper, the American Apparel is a little better. It has $1.50. But even if you did American Apparel, you're under $13. So you could do $12.99, and you would make like a quarter revenue or a quarter royalty, and they can get their shirt delivered prime from Amazon. They're going to do all the works, and they get it, and they wear it.
And what if
you're really doing a service to them by giving them this option?
If they don't have a Prime account, is it still free shipping or not?
They can still buy it. It wouldn't be free unless they spent like $35.
Got it.
And you could always order them yourself and sell some. You could have your most popular sizes like men's extra large.
Yeah, and
you could give them away,
and have the guys at the shop, buy them from the guys at the shop in their size too, so we could wear them. But they only let you do them on the front, right? You can't put anything on the back.
You can put them on the back. You can do front or back, or front and back.
Okay, cool.
So it's whatever you want. But keep this in mind. As much as I'm a merch fan, I'm realistic. If you want to order a bunch of shirts, like say you wanted to have 50 men's XL at the sale, just because you thought you'd be able to sell them, then you should probably do that at a local shirt shop, because the price per unit is going to be very low, but you will have to pay up front. So now you're going to have to pay for them. So that's why this is very attractive to the fundraisers,
especially
to the businesses
test too. You can test it out and see if it works, before you move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically for free, they can put a shirt up. If they could just make a sign that says, here's a link and a picture of our shirt, and maybe they never sell a single shirt. Big deal. It didn't cost them anything, right? But if they sell one shirt, they're in the black. One shirt. You're doing a service. The people who want the shirts, like, there are probably people who are like, I would love to have a Friends of the Library Dayton, Ohio shirt, but they're never going to make one for you because it's way too much trouble to make you one shirt.
Yeah.
Right. But they can do it this way with Merch by Amazon. And like I say, it's just t-shirts. Wait till it's hoodies and visors and socks and all this extra stuff to where it's going to be more catered for all kinds of different things. Right? T-shirts is the obvious one. Every restaurant should have this up on their wall, or a picture in their menu. Buy our shirt and come in on Thursdays. We'll give you half price appetizers. Like, they're going to buy the shirt. People are crazy about how many shirts they buy. Everybody needs to go look in their drawers in their house, in their closet, and look at all the t-shirts they have. A lot of them are probably pretty crappy too, right? But you still bought them. Everyone buys t-shirts. It's crazy. that's why they went with it.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It one of those things that we just have to do it. But I definitely do want to do shirts, definitely for the dollar book swap. I'd like to do, something hashtag busproof too, but that's less useful, I guess, in the short run.
Here's where you gotta think big on this, right? Not big as in like big royalties, but I just got approved yesterday. We're talking about ScanPower and Boxed is our new box level packing program for FBA sellers. And I wanted Boxed on Amazon. I want the keywords on Amazon. So 3 days ago, it went for review, probably because I had the keywords FBA and Amazon in this title and in the description. So I have Boxed t-shirts. It's a ScanPower box with my sunglasses logo, with just the ScanPower logo. I brought back our old school FBA Power type logo and put Boxed with the website on the shirt. Right? Because you can't put the website in the description. Yeah. No website in the description. You're not allowed to take people off site, but you can put whatever you want on that on the image. So I've got box contents, FBA, Amazon, all these things. So if anyone's searching either Google or on Amazon for any of this stuff, guess what's going to come up? Now, I don't expect anybody to actually buy those shirts other than me. I'll probably buy a couple just so I can wear them at conferences. But people are going to see the website and be like, oh, ScanPower box, what is that? And then they can go look. So you can do the exact same thing with Busproof Business and Busproof Live. So when people search that, you let them search on Amazon, and this shirt's going to come up. Whether they buy it or not, they're going to see the link, right? They're going to see hashtag Busproof. So you can get your brand out there in some creative ways, all within the Amazon's terms of service. So you're not breaking any rules. And it's the creative ways that you can use merch and all these new platforms that I get excited about, and I'm well aware that it's what I'm good at, which is why I try to spend more time there instead of labeling this box of books to send in.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. We definitely, we spent some money to get a decent logo. We definitely should, at least for the podcast, we should get a shirt.
You should get a podcast shirt up. Anybody that buys the shirt and posts a selfie with the shirt on Facebook gets what? Gets something.
You get a free episode of the podcast.
You could make like here's what you really should do. I don't know if you can find a special enough guest to do a private episode of the podcast. And the only way you get access to that is by posting a picture with the t-shirt.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know who would be good enough to hold that out. Be like, oh, if you get like Tony Robbins, but hey, my Tony Robbins interview is only available to those who post with the t-shirt. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. There's probably a better solution.
One of the things that we do here is we do have the busproofworkshop.com where we have additional training that and content that isn't on the podcast. It doesn't cost anything. You just got to opt in. But because, especially when we get pretty deep and nerdy into books and so sometimes it's not, we don't want to turn off the 90% of people that are listening to this that might not be into books as heavy as we are. So we'll have like a deeper dive into certain issues, and maybe that's something that can somehow, I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll workshop this. I'm not sure how useful this is for the end result of the podcast, but yeah, I think I love to talk shop like this, man. This is how ideas happen. It's just a couple of guys talking on the phone.
Well, here's a great idea, and I think this does tie into people who want to do some entrepreneurship and start some businesses here. Because with Merch by Amazon, your max price is $49.99, right? So you're looking at a $50 t-shirt, which you got to have something good to command $50 for a t-shirt. You got to be like Kanye West style to command that price. But here's where it gets interesting. And I've done a couple things like this with my books, is if you're on a podcast, if you have your own podcast, or if you have a bit of an audience on Facebook, and you post and say, look, guys, I've got this great offer for you. If you buy this shirt and email me the receipt from Amazon, then I'm going to give you this digital product or this coaching call or this physical product, whatever it might be. Because on a $50 t-shirt, you're going to get like a $35 royalty, right? So you've earned $35. This person's getting the t-shirt, and here's this little secret in between, which Greg, you may have already like figured out where I'm going with this. You now have their email address, right? And not even like an opt-in, like they emailed you. Right. And you can email back either yourself or someone on your team. Like this is someone who has spent $50 on a t-shirt, right? Like you want to talk like warm market that's like a good place to start. They are clearly listening to you and are interested in what you're saying and willing to spend money with you. So from a marketing standpoint, those are probably going to be your best clients for like a higher priced conference or some higher priced coaching or whatever it is that whoever's doing this has in mind, whatever their business is. You've got their email and you can write right back to them. You could do a text message. Take a selfie and text it to me. Right? Like, I don't think people should be scared of the cell phone and texting anymore, because no one's just going to like text you all day just to what? People know my number. You know who texts me? Nobody. Because what are we going to do? Just text back and forth?
Yeah, I do.
Like
I do send you at least a half a dozen selfies a day. I mean, outside
yeah,
of
your Snapchat's blowing up, man.
I know.
Your Snapchat story is epic every week.
I still don't know how to use it. I downloaded it because I wanted to be cool, like all the cool kids, but I'm too old, Chris. I'm 35. I think it's past my time to do new things. It's over. I don't think I can do it anymore.
Yeah, that's why you can hire.
Yeah,
you can hire a Snapchat expert.
I tried. I downloaded it. I'm just old. I don't know anymore. I know that everybody's into it now, and so it's probably important. But there's at some point, it's just not intuitive to me, and so I'm just not going to do it.
Well, next time we meet up, I'll teach you what I know about Snapchat. It's interesting, but it is definitely different. So I mean, it's all about how much time you put into it. Me and you probably put a lot more time into Facebook than we should, but we know how to use it. Right? We know where the people are. It's just different.
Okay, so Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about the new software that you guys are working on, Boxed? I played with it some. We ship out shipments of 10, 15,000 units at a time through FBA. We use the same provider that we do for all of our inventory management for the box level content. But first off, tell us what this whole box level thing is and how Boxed works. Could we use it even though we don't use ScanPower for what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Boxed is a standalone service. Everybody started calling it Boxed. Internally, we called it Box Tetris. Right, that's kind of where the name came from.
Cool.
Because you can imagine, especially with books, right? Like, I got this one big book, or I got this small book, or I got this little space that, I really want to put something in that box. So it's like playing Tetris, especially with like retail arbitrage type products. You're like, got to get the highest number of items in the box so that we're actually shipping the fewest boxes. So we're able to maximize or minimize the cost per item that we're sending in. So we called it Box Tetris and then Box T, and then everybody just calls it Boxed. So we're like, okay, it's Boxed now. So you spell it Boxt, and you can find the website at boxt.scanpower.com. And it's a standalone service that we made in response to Amazon's new box level requirements or content requirements that they announced back in May. So in May, all the vendors knew about this, and we're like, okay, we need to make a solution for all of our users. August, we released it, and between August and now, we record this in October, we perfected it. So we had a lot of high volume FBA sellers using it, giving us feedback, saying we need to do this, and we tested it and improved it, and it's a perfected product right now. And it's one of the few products on the market where you can just like sign up and use it and go. Like, there's no learning curve, there's no manual, these are the settings that you should have if you want to do this, and these are the settings if you want to. There's none of that. Like, you get in, you got all your products, you scan them, you put them in the boxes. It's going to build the boxes as you go. You put the 2D barcodes that are going to be printed for each box so that Amazon knows what's in the box when it's received. Put them on the boxes, tape them up, and you're done.
Okay. Now, real quick, are these 4x6 labels? The 2D barcodes?
They're designed. Yeah, they're designed for 4x6 labels for your Zebras, your Dymo XLs, or any other type of thermal label printer. But they also print on regular paper. So if you got an inkjet or a laser, you can still print on those and put them on.
How fast? You're
going to find it's optimized.
How fast is it? Because we've had trouble with speed before.
Well, the speed isn't an issue at this point because it's not calling any data.
Gotcha.
Right.
Wonderful.
Like, all this is, and you're going to be a little bit of a different case, and we should probably talk about that, at the end. Because with sending in, books and used books and onesie type products, you guys are going to just kind of have different needs than sellers who are sending in 12 of this and 4 of this and 16 of this and 488 of these and all that stuff. So different sellers are going to have a different approach to it, because all this is, like, for what Amazon put this out is to say, look, in the fourth quarter, we're going to charge you 15 cents an item if you don't tell us what's in each box. Because, I mean, you've been doing FBA for a while, and I've taught more people FBA than anybody on the planet. And so many times on the first FBA shipment, they're like, do I need to tell Amazon what's in the box? And you're like, no, there's 12 boxes, and Amazon don't care. It's just one big shipment as far as Amazon's concerned. Like, everybody assumed Amazon would want to know what's in the box, right? Like, but Amazon didn't. But now they do. And they want to help reduce errors, to cut down on, there's probably a little piece of seller fraud that's in there where they say they sent in 4, but they only got 2, and they just blame Amazon. There are definitely sellers who took advantage of that and abused it to the point where, one bad apple spoils the bunch kind of thing. But also helps Amazon receive it a lot faster. So when that warehouse worker scans it and they know what's in the box, it just cuts down on them looking for stuff and trying to match up quantities, and 12 in here and there's another 2 somewhere else. And I mean, where is that box? It's probably still in the truck. Like, it's just a mess. So it's going to get your stuff. This is the big one. It's going to get your inventory available for sale 8 days faster. That's what people are reporting when they're using box level contents.
Got you. Okay, there we go. I was wondering what those numbers came from. Because it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for us because I think we're something, as of this recording, we're something like 40 to 45,000 units behind. We have 4 or 5 shipments that are in the queue. They're out of our doors and they're sitting on Amazon's dock. And I'm really hoping that this whole thing will speed it up, because that, $6 or $7 in revenue after Amazon's fees per item, that's a lot of money. So
it adds up. And 10 cents adds up.
Oh, no doubt.
15 cents adds up. So that's the thing people got to think about. I mean, if people are like, I don't want to do it, and I'll pay the 10 cents. It's 10 cents per unit first 3 quarters of the year, 15 cents in fourth quarter, which, again, if you want to pay it, I don't care. Right? If they're making $80 a unit on profit, maybe they're not worried about another 10 cents. But it's the 8 days sooner, especially in the middle of Q4, right, where it's just not worth it. So, I mean, we didn't make Boxed as a standalone product on purpose, because we know there are other solutions out there. If people are using any other products to list or reprice or whatever, you can still use Boxed. You can still do everything else, your regular workflow. You sync up with Boxed. It shows your 3 shipments. Click on one, put everything in the boxes, print those 2D labels, and you're done, right? So there's no reason to get all bent out of shape and be like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Boxed will do it for you. It'll pay for itself in one shipment.
I really thought that Amazon wouldn't make booksellers use it. I thought we would get an exception. We often do get exceptions for some of these policies, and so I really didn't think they'd make us do it. It just is absurd. I mean, it's just a different thing. We're not sending in, 820 packs of Crayolas. Like, we're sending in 1 of each thing. So I honestly didn't think that it would get to us, but it did. So I think I'm going to have to.
But I got to think, and
oh, go ahead.
I think, and you tell me, right? Because from a used bookseller, and let's not play fourth quarter, right? Just general sending to FBA. How important is it to have your inventory available for sale a week earlier, right? Because I would suspect that it's not as, and I don't want to say not important, but not as important for a used bookseller whose long tail books are going to sell when they're going to sell. Not that you're just a long tail bookseller, but as an example, versus a retail arbitrage seller who might be sending in a very hot, time sensitive product that's sold out on Amazon that they really want to have for sale fast. I do see a little bit of a, they're not going to both fight as it's that important. It's equally important to those types of sellers.
Well, textbook season, it certainly was pretty important. And we missed a window with about 3,000 textbooks that still aren't in Amazon's fulfillment center that we sent towards the end of August.
Oh, yikes.
So it's kind of a bummer that we missed season. But normally, honestly, I would rather not have to pay, have to hire an additional entire employee, which is, $20,000-$25,000 a year. In terms of cash flow, it's nice to be there 8 days quicker, but most of the time it's not that important to us. But I mean, Amazon didn't call me and ask me beforehand.
I'll see what I can do. I'll get them to call you next time. And there are sellers that have, like 12-week supply at Amazon, right? Like the next shipment they send in isn't going to affect their sales because they're never going to run out between now and then. Those units aren't going to sell within the time frame that the product gets received. So, I mean, these are the things that sellers need to think about when they're like, do I want to provide box contents or not? And we wanted to provide a dead simple solution so that it cuts down on mistakes. So no one's going to like put the wrong item in the wrong box or miss an item or anything like that. And anybody can just pick up and go. And one of the coolest things about Boxed is we made it prep center ready from the beginning. So any prep center can use this. PZP, Prime Zero Prep, is using us. So any of their users are going to get Boxed benefits, meaning available for sale 8 days sooner, not paying those fees. And Prime Zero Prep gets the benefit of having a nice, simple solution that everybody in their warehouse can just grab, turn it on. It's all touchscreen friendly. It works with any USB scanner or wireless scanner, and they just go. And it cuts down on errors for them as well. Because if you can imagine a prep center or a prep and ship center receiving all these products from all these different sellers and all these different shipments and keeping them all straight and making sure the seller's got 18 shipments going and want to make sure everything goes in the right one, you can't mess it up with Boxed because we're talking about barcodes, right? If you scan it and it's not supposed to be in there, it's going to tell you. And if it's supposed to be in there, you put it in the box and you're never going to see it again. So it really helps sellers, make more money with getting their time back, getting their inventory for sale faster. It's really a no-brainer. And like I said, we developed it early. As soon as we knew it was coming, we started working on it. And it's been tested and proven by not just casual sellers, high-volume FBA sellers, many of which use other services. Some of the services that you're using, some of the services other people are using. It doesn't matter. You can do all that stuff. Use Box to prepare your shipments. It really is the biggest no-brainer service that's out there for Amazon sellers right now.
Awesome.
Well, I just couldn't imagine 8 days later in fourth quarter is nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Well, Chris, how can people get in touch with you? How can they contact you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
My email is going to be chris@scanpower.com or chris@chrisgreen.com. You can find me on Facebook, posting in all my groups. Facebook.com/Chris is where you can find my public profile page or my public figure page. I am pretty easy to find, and I enjoy helping people. So if someone needs help, please reach out, and I get back to everybody. Not always right away, but usually I get back to everybody eventually.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
So I thought we got a lot out of Chris today. I think my favorite part of the interview was when he started talking about building relationships, because I really think that is the most crucial part of a business, of building a business, whether you're selling books on Amazon, whether you're selling other things on Amazon, or whether you have a brick and mortar bookstore, or you're a plumber or a photographer, whatever it is. If you build relationships with your potential customers and in your local community, you can do a lot more than you ever could otherwise. The reason I think that a lot of us don't put as much emphasis on relationships as we should is that so many of us that have Amazon businesses have really let that part of our business atrophy, or we never built it in the first place. And the reason behind that is that Amazon does all that work for us. They find the customers, they build the relationships, they do all of that. But it's not just selling the stuff that's the hard part. That's honestly easy on Amazon. We have all these tools, but actually finding the stuff to buy and building relationships locally, that's something that you don't learn. It's not as easy to learn in business. And so relationships and partnerships are so important. And I think that we covered that great today. And if that's one thing that you can learn about Chris, it's that he values relationships above almost everything else. So thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to check out busproofworkshop.com, and you can sign up for our next workshop, and you can learn more about us. Also, please don't forget to leave us a review and leave us some feedback on iTunes. We would certainly appreciate that. That's really how we get the word out about what we do. So thank you guys so much, and remember, make today count.
That's all for this episode of the Bust-Proof Business Podcast. Be sure to point your browser to bustproofworkshop.com to sign up for our mailing list and to get your opportunity to enroll in one of our specialized seminars, guaranteeing you continued results in typical bust-proof fashion. Thanks again for joining us. We look forward to taking your business to the next level right here on the Bust-Proof Business Podcast.